Welcome to Soapbox Lunch and Philly Cam's 5-year anniversary special. I'm your host, Albert Lee. And today, my first guest is Molly Tack-Hooper from the ACLU of Pennsylvania, and whose motto is, defend liberty where it began. Welcome to Soapbox Lunch.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me, how does the city of Philadelphia work with the First Amendment right as far as its citizens go? Do they allow citizens to speak freely, or is there more of a kind of a hold on them?
Well, Philadelphia, of course, is the birthplace of the Constitution, and there are reminders of this everywhere. There's literally a monument to the First Amendment right on Independence Mall, which is great, but like most places around the country, Philadelphia doesn't always live up to its ideals. So we've had to file a number of lawsuits against the city of Philadelphia for violating its citizens' free speech. We just recently filed our 5th in a series of lawsuits on behalf of people who were arrested or given citations or in some way retaliated against by the Philadelphia police for trying to record the police performing their duties in public. So our clients are people who either pulled out their cell phones to take a picture of an arrest. In one instance, a woman was just standing there watching the police interact with someone on the street, or one of them was videotaping. They were all in some way retaliated against, given a citation, arrested, or one of them was actually physically restrained in order to prevent her from recording the police. Recording the police in public is not only a First Amendment right, it's also a really important tool for holding the police accountable. So this is one area in which Philadelphia has not done tremendously well as a free speech city. Another issue we've seen come up a lot is the district attorney trying to introduce people's rap videos as evidence against them in criminal proceedings. So we recently filed a brief as a friend of the court in a case where one gentleman was charged with selling crack cocaine. He had produced a number of rap videos in which he rapped about all kinds of things, pretty common rap themes. Among them was the drug trade, and the district attorney wanted to introduce this as evidence that he actually did all of the things he rapped about. So we wrote to the court to explain that rap, like other music and art forms, is a form of free speech that's protected by the Constitution. It shouldn't be assumed to be truth. It's not confession, it's fiction. And that introducing it as evidence not only violated that individual's rights, but chilled the free speech of potentially thousands of other would-be artists out there who might not make a rap video if they thought it might be taken literally and used against them.
I want to touch base really quick on the fact that People's Plaza, which is down the street from Philly Cam Studio, is a place where people can protest.
Right.
Now, is there such thing as limitations to where you can or can't protest or practice your First Amendment right?
So in spaces that have historically been open for free speech, parks, public plazas, sidewalks, the places you think of as places where someone might stand on a soapbox, in those kinds of public spaces, the government is actually very limited in terms of the ability to shut down free speech there. So it's great when a city actually engages in some city planning and tries to create more spaces for speech and protest, but creating those spaces doesn't mean that you can necessarily shut down speech in all the other spaces.
So if you have the right to say it, you should have the right to say it anywhere.
Well, there are some limitations, of course.
Sure.
For example, if you're going to have a very large gathering, you might have to get a permit, which sounds like a restriction on free speech, but it also protects protesters. It makes getting a permit sometimes means that your protest won't be drowned out by other speakers. It's sort of a protective mechanism. The government's allowed to regulate speech in certain ways.
And understanding that in National Park Service, as long as people file a permit and they're practicing their First Amendment right, they can't really reject any possibility of someone saying, oh, I want to protest about this. And if it falls under, they're able to do that, regardless of what the the scenario or situation is.
Yes, certainly what you want to say won't affect your rights. The government definitely can't make decisions about who gets to speak based on what they want to say.
Sure.
The First Amendment's there to protect people who might be expressing ideas that are unpopular.
Right. It's not meant to be the status quo.
Right.
So how can people find out more information or contact the ACLU of Pennsylvania?
Well, if someone thinks their rights have been violated, they should give us a call at 877-PHL-ACLU. That's PHL as in Philadelphia, ACLU. Or you can find us online at ACLU-PA.org. There's a big file a complaint button. Reach out and we will get back to you.
Well, thanks, Molly, for coming on the Soapbox Lunch.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back with more Soapbox Lunch.